From the archive, a record that refuses to rest. Where did the green children of Woolpit truly come from? In a single Suffolk harvest, 2 children climbed out of the earth with skin the color of new leaves, speaking no tongue anyone alive could name. Picture rural Suffolk around the year 1150. A village named Woolpit, after the wolf pits dug to trap predators at the edge of the fields. The land is open, worked by peasant farmers scarred with old earthworks far older than memory. At harvest time, the chronicles say, workers near the wolf pits heard strange voices. There, at the mouth of one of the pits, stood 2 children, a boy and a girl, and every reaper who saw them froze because the children's skin was green. They wore clothes of an unfamiliar cut and color. They spoke to one another in a language no one in the village could understand. Frightened but curious, the farmers brought them to the home of a local knight said to be Sir Richard de Calne at Wykes. Food was set before them, bread, meat, the ordinary fare of a Suffolk table. The children would not touch it. They wept and refused everything until someone brought in fresh beans, still on their stalks. These, the chronicles say, they devoured. For months, the records claim, they ate almost nothing but beans and milk. And for months, their skin stayed green. Not pale, not flushed, green. Whatever had marked them did not fade with a warm hearth and a full plate. Hold on to that detail, green skin that lasted for months. Because here is what makes this story endure. It isn't a single fireside tale. 2 separate, respected chroniclers wrote it down independently, decades apart, and their accounts agree. The first is William of Newburgh, who set the events down in his Historia Anglorum around 1198. A careful writer, often skeptical of marvels, he admitted he had long doubted this one, yet recorded it because the testimony was too strong to dismiss. The second is Ralph of Coggeshall, abbot of a Cistercian house in Essex, writing in his Nova Chronica around 1220. Ralph claimed he had heard the story from a man close to the events themselves, Sir Richard's own household. 2 men, 2 monasteries, decades between their pens. And yet the core of the tale is the same. Green children, beans, a dead boy, a surviving girl. How do 2 independent chroniclers record nearly identical details if there was nothing behind it? Now the story turns darker. The boy, the chronicles agree, weakened. He grew sad and sickly, was baptized, and within months of their arrival he died. The girl, stronger, survived, and slowly the green began to leave her. As she learned to eat ordinary food, her skin lost its color until she looked like any other Suffolk girl. And as she learned English, she could finally answer the question everyone had been desperate to ask. Where had they come from? Her answer was stranger than anyone expected. She and her brother, she said, came from a land where the sun never truly shone, a place of perpetual twilight, which she called the land of St. Martin. Everyone there, she insisted, was green like them. She described tending flocks in that dim country. She spoke of a great shining river across from their home, and she told of how she and the boy had followed their animals into a cavern, heard the ringing of bells, and emerged, blinking, into the unfamiliar glare of Woolpit's sun. It is a story that sounds like folklore, and yet it was set down as testimony. So the question divides into 2. What really happened to these children? And why did the surviving girl describe a world that fits no place on any medieval map? The first explanation is medical. A condition once called chlorosis, a severe form of anemia, sometimes nicknamed the green sickness, could give the skin a pale greenish cast. Poor diet and malnutrition might explain both the color and their narrow craving for beans. But chlorosis has a problem. It usually fades as soon as the patient eats well, and the chronicles insist the green lingered for months, even after the girl was fed. Anemia can explain a tint. It struggles to explain a color that refused to leave. The second explanation is historical. 12th century Suffolk had Flemish immigrant communities, weavers and settlers who spoke their own tongue. If these were lost Flemish children, their strange language and clothing would suddenly make sense. It is the neatest theory. Lost, frightened, perhaps orphaned children, wandering until they stumbled from a cave or pit into a strange village. But it still leaves the green skin unexplained, and it cannot account for the girl's vivid story of a sunless country. The third explanation refuses to choose. For centuries, folklore claimed the children stepped out of fairyland, the other world beneath the hills, where, the legends say, the dead and the unborn dwell in eternal twilight. The chroniclers themselves hovered between marvel and disbelief. So we have three doors: illness, immigration, and the other world. And not one of them closes cleanly. Before I tell you what became of the girl, ask yourself the harder question. Were these prehistoric barrows and old Roman ground just steps from the pits, only a coincidence? Here is where the supernatural reading weakens, and the human one deepens. The girl did not vanish back into a hillside. She stayed. She was baptized, grew up in the district, and according to Ralph of Coggeshall, she later married and lived as an ordinary woman. Local tradition even gives her a name, Agnes, and remembers her as somewhat careless and wanton in her ways, the chronicler notes, but unmistakably human, unmistakably real. The other world does not usually marry into the village and grow old there, and yet she never explained it. Not the green skin that lasted months, not the lost brother, not the sunless land of St. Martin, the shining river, the cavern, the bells. She lived a long, ordinary life, carrying an answer she apparently could not or would not fully give. No physical evidence survives, no graves, no garments, no proof beyond two careful chronicles that agree across the decades. 8 centuries on, the green children remain exactly what they were at the mouth of that wolf pit, real, recorded, and unexplained. The archive keeps what the world forgets. Subscribe for more medieval enigmas. Full chronicle excerpts are in the description. And tell me which door you'd walk through.